You are listening to Visionaries Wrestling Network, providing your perfect podcast experience.
Alright, this is MGB 002 Primetime Pro, hashtag Washington Monumental, from July 28th. Doors opened at 3 p.m. First match was 3:30. Traffic wasn't quite so bad for this one. Last time I know we talked about having issues in getting there. There was problems with the GPS. No problems this time. We parked in pretty much the same spot we parked last time, which was fairly quiet, and then we had a walk of probably no more than about 2 or 3 blocks to get there. Anything for the start, Mason?
So, it was really hot again.
Alright, well I got a quote for you straight away then. This is at Chris E.G. Nolan. If the next Primetime Pro Show's theme isn't Nelly's Hot in Here, then I don't know what Lolo and Gator are thinking about. Now, I don't think you know that song, but yeah, that definitely would fit in with it. Anything else from what we did before? Or I guess actually as we went in, we actually got to thank Mayday for this. This was another event that was sold out within a few hours. And they started to sell some tickets before general sale at the after party at the DC9 Club. And Mayday went, we gave him some extra money, and he bought the tickets for us. And we let them know ahead of time, hey look, although Mayday's bought the tickets, 2 of them are actually ours. And yeah, we had no problem when we got there. They had our names already listed. And actually, we went and sat. Mayday was probably one of the first people in, as far as we could tell. He was sat in the middle, on the front side, which is where we sat last time. So he's sort of behind the camera view as you're looking. One thing I noticed straight away, though, not much room in this one at all. Like, the seats were right up against the bars. So we sort of got in, and then even just trying to leave was, like, really difficult.
Yeah. And we saw, you told me there was a new card. So I was sitting, like, before we even got in, and I could see how cool it was.
Yeah, this is by 1% merch. We have 12 of these from the Nova Pro days, and they're starting them back up again. So I already knew that we were going to fit this one in for you, and this one was Isaiah Frazier. We went to get it, and they said, well, he hasn't signed it yet. So we're like, well, that's fine. We want to pay for it now. We want to make sure that we got it. And probably we'll talk about that a little bit later. Also, you found out, because you didn't know about this, Matt actually was won, or was given, I can't remember quite which, one of the Pop Funk figures. And he said, just give it to Mason, that's fine. Which was good of him, because I'm sure shipping that thing would have been a real pain. So we sort of kept that quiet from on the first one. I can't remember what the deal was. Oh, I remember the deal now. It was at the first one, they didn't quite have them all ready. At Crab Wrestling, you weren't there. So on this one here, I was like, perfect, we can figure it out. I didn't realise they had so many different variations on the Logan theme. So anyway, on the next event, you're actually going to get to see the different Logans, and you can pick the one that you want. Because I just said, oh, I assume you want one with a sweat around his neck. That's the one I always think of when I Logan. And they were like, oh, there's way more than that. So yeah, they got like 100 variations by the sounds of it. But anyway, so yeah, once again, it was very hot. They said they were putting more fans in. There was one less fan. Because where Faye Jackson sat on the first one, there was no fan over there anymore. The fan in the other corner, that was still there, but I don't know. Considering the outside temperature was way hotter for this one, I thought the inside temperature was actually better, probably.
Yeah.
But not by much.
Yeah.
Not by much. We had to wait longer to get in as well. The line snaked around the brewery, whereas last time, I think we were one of the first people actually in. So that was something slightly different. No pre-matches again, and I actually just saw EWA are not calling their matches pre-matches anymore. They're going to call them appetizers. I don't know why. Apparently they think it's a good business move. There was no pre-matches, and we didn't really have to wait that long. We did see Cabana Mandan probably about 2 minutes before the matches were about to start, and we'd already been in and out a few times in that row, and we just couldn't get out. I was like, we'll go talk to him at the intermission, because we had something that we actually wanted to give him actually at the very last Nova Pro event, which he didn't make, which was something like, you can never have enough flip-flops or friends, something like that.
You can never have too many friends, and you never can have too many flip-flops.
Yeah, if you combine those two things we just said, you pretty much get the message. But it was like on a little board, something you can hang up in, I don't know, probably a bathroom, I would think. But one of those little messages. We wrote a little message inside as well, thanking him for all the good times at Nova Pro. And at that point, we didn't think that we'd ever get to see Cabana Man again. It looked like wrestling was dead. And now, I say, there's plenty. There's Flying V, we got Crab Wrestling, we've got Primetime Pro Wrestling, so there's a lot going on. Okay, match 1. Bobby Orlando versus Logan Easton LaRoe. Now, this was originally supposed to be Alley Cat versus Bobby Orlando, and Primetime Pro Wrestling tweeted, due to issues beyond everyone's control, Alley Cat will not be able to make it to Washington Monumental. Ali retweeted it and responded, everyone, I am so sorry I couldn't make it tomorrow, and I promise I'll be back as soon as I find a set place to travel in and out of again. I was really looking forward for this match as well, not least because it was intergender. Alley Cat being back was great. We did get to see her at Flying V the previous week, but I'm always happy to see Alley Cat. It was the one time where we thought streamers would be useful, because we knew we could throw her a streamer, because we couldn't last week. Didn't get to do that either. And actually, O'Shea Edwards also tweeted about this, because he was suspended after the first event, so he was told he wasn't coming back. I mean, you could have had more than a suitable opponent, but then again, you suspended your main draw. So I'm going to New York to chill with my pops. All right, talk about this match then, Mason.
So Logan kicks Bobby's face like before, and then Logan announces himself, and Bobby, I just noticed, he yells out all of his moves before he does it.
Oh, he does? Oh, I didn't notice that at all.
Yeah,
huh.
Death Valley Driver, and then he does it.
Oh, okay.
He does the drop kick, and then he yells that out, and then he does it. So it's pretty predictable on what you see.
Now, I think one of the things, though, probably why he got distracted, I'm trying to remember, Bobby Jr., his pet goat, which is a fur toy, or as far as I can, plush toy, we'll say, didn't the ref move it or something, or did Logan touch it, or there was something that went on at the start that got him distracted. And I think that's why he got the super kick to the face, because he wasn't quite ready. He was dealing with Bobby Jr., as far as I can remember.
I think Buff Ref moved it.
Oh, okay. So that might have been something that distracted him a little bit for this one.
And Logan then wins with a drop kick.
Now, it was a quick match, and I know I make fun of you sometimes for not saying very much about this. This was a quick match. And the reason we knew this was going to be a quick match, and I didn't know. Apparently it was announced this was going to be the first match. It had to be the first match. The character Blank, who we believe is Logan Easton LaRoe, was also on the card as well. So Logan was essentially doing double duty. So you wouldn't want him to have a 20-minute match and then have another match later. I kind of felt sorry for Bobby because he didn't get the chance to do his comedic stuff. We really liked him at Nova Pro the 2 times we went to see him for all his antics with the goat and his silliness. When I've seen him on Capital Wrestling, he is actually a heel. So he tends to be a very different character. He doesn't do that jokey side much. And he tended to be more like that today. The thing I did get to appreciate, though, is I got to see a different side of Bobby Orlando. And actually, I thought he was a tough wrestler. It's nice to see that, not just that he's a comedic wrestler, but the fact that he can turn it up and also be... He went toe-to-toe with Logan for a few minutes, and then, obviously, just because of the nature of this match, it had to end kind of early. Match 2. John Kerman versus Eel O'Neill versus Francis Kip Stevens. Do you know what Kip stands for?
No.
I didn't even know. Apparently it's Kipland.
Oh.
I don't know what Kipland is. I wonder what, that's an interesting middle name. I'm not sure that's his real name anyway, but I wonder what Kipland is. That kind of got my attention. Francis on Twitter, on his bio, it says, I wrestle one half of the Breakfast Club, one tough nerd or evil Kip, both entertaining. So when we saw him, he was the one tough nerd at the first event. And actually for this event, he came out as one tough nerd and then went back behind the curtains. And then he came back out, and he came out as Evil Kip. So I missed that from the first one, mainly because I think there was there like 10, 15 people in that Battle Royal at the start? So all those people, they're all new to us, or a lot of them were new to us, so we didn't really get to know the characters so well. About an hour before doors opened, he did actually tell us he was going to do this on Twitter. One tough nerd would try his hardest, but Evil Kip will do whatever it takes. Time to infest the swamp. Now, actually, the intro, as the people were coming out, as Eel O'Neill came out, I was booing because what happened at Flying V last week. And then somebody reminded me, yeah, that's not the same character anymore. This is Primetime Pro. It gets confusing when you go to 3 different events and they actually have different characters. But because he turned on the people, on the faces at Flying V, I was like, boo! And then someone said, no, different. So now I'm going with that distinction. That was Eel O'Neill. And this was just Eel O'Neill. So I started clapping again. So I finally got figured out for that one. All right, talk to us about this match.
So, Kerman, he has a black eye. I saw.
Does? Yep.
And Evil Kip, he gave Buff Ref the middle finger.
He did?
Yes. And then, so Evil Kip, he just sits on the top rope and then lets Eel O'Neill and Kerman, them fight and show him how it's done.
He did. I thought that was clever. I liked how he did that. I thought that was good. It was very interesting, and this tells you how good the wrestler they are in character. I so bought into the nerd Kip that once those glasses came off and once he became evil Kip, he's a totally different person. And he was legitimately believable as the tough guy as well. But that's how convincing that you get bought into things like that. That's why I love wrestling, when they can do that switch and you're like, whoa, I totally bought into that, but I can see that you're doing a great acting job and you really can be this as well.
And then, so Kerman and Il O'Neill are doing like arm twists to Kip, and they're seeing who can do it better.
Mm-hmm.
And
at the same time, one's got his left arm, one's got his right arm. Yeah.
And then,
didn't they also say, I think Kerman started off by saying, this is how we do like an arm twist in Washington. And then Il O'Neill go, well, this is how we do like an arm twist in Baltimore. Or he said Maryland. I can't remember quite the distinction. But they were talking about from different points of view. I thought it was pretty funny. And Kip's there with his arms twisted all up. I liked it.
And then they start pushing each other. And then, like, Kip tries to do a double clothesline. And then they push each other again. And then he ends up getting clotheslined.
That was really well choreographed. I really like that, because they were not looking for it. It was just that they obviously knew how it was going to work. But I thought they did a really good job setting that up.
And then Evil Kip and Il O'Neill both pin John Kerman and win.
They did. It was one where they did the double move again. They managed to flip Kerman over. They both went to pin at the same time. And, they both started to celebrate. They both thought they'd won. Kip said, hey, announce me as the winner. And both were like, well, no, let me explain what happened. And he didn't want to listen to all that. So, yeah, they both sort of took the plaudits. And, that was it. Okay, match 3. Lady Frost and Max Sterling versus Faye Jackson and Isaiah Frazier. Max Sterling's bio on Twitter says pro wrestler, proud Lance Storm Academy summer graduate, 2016 graduate, stay classy. And I think the classy refers to basically his gimmick, because when he came out, I actually thought he came out in a tuxedo to begin with. I saw like the bow tie and everything. I was like, oh my gosh, he's going to wrestle in that? He's going to be so hot. And when it came out, it was just really like his leotard, wasn't it? It was like printed. Now, I've seen t-shirts like that for like Jackson's age as well, that you can kind of make them look like they're wearing a suit, but it's really just a printed t-shirt. And the reason Max Sterling was there is, I'm guessing then that Savage Gentleman is still not ready to return to the ring. I know he's had surgery, I think it said, so he needed a suitable replacement to accompany Lady Frost, and they picked Max Sterling out for that reason.
So Victor Benjamin, he keeps trying to attack Faye Jackson, but then she keeps like kicking him away, and Max Sterling, he keeps like they keep attacking Isaiah Frazier, but then he tags in Lady Frost, and then Lady Frost she brushes Isaiah off, and then before she pins him. I noticed she does that for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
And then Faye Jackson, she wins with a body slam.
Yeah, I thought this was a thoroughly entertaining match. You had different points when different people win in. I thought everybody got to get their moves in. Like Lady Frost get to throw her snowballs as well. One nearly rolled to us. It was kind of close, and I think ref kicked it out the ring or something, and it rolled even closer. I really want one of those snowballs from Lady Frost. But yeah, they all got to do their moves in. I thought it was good. I think this was another match that was only like a 10-minute time limit, and I think they got to like the 9th minute, so you knew something was going to happen towards the end. And I thought it was a thoroughly enjoyable match. And I like Max Sterling. I'd be interested to see more of him. And I certainly hope Savage Gentleman comes back soon, because I think that works much better when Lady Frost is with Savage Gentleman. But Savage Gentleman does, like you said, he does a great job of doing heel work on the outside of the ring. He still plays an integral part in that match, so I think that's important for him too. After the match, @Tara Calloway tweeted, people jumped out of their seats so fast when @Faye Jackson 419 won that multiple chairs fell over. Holy beep. And Faye actually responded, this DC crowd was so dope. Faye was really popular. When she came out, I think she's always been popular, but she definitely was well received when she came out. I thought that was a good tag, putting her with Isaiah Frazier as well. Match 4. Still Life with Apricots and Pears versus Cabana Man Dan. I'm going to guess it's Apricots, being an American wrestler. I would say Apricots, but I don't think it's that. We've seen him before, because we know he's from Chikara. And actually, his Still Life's bio on Twitter says, Chikara Young Lions Cup 15 champion. they/them, available for exhibition. So his gimmick is he's like an art exhibition or an art installation. So he does like different poses and then freezes and stuff. I noticed when the ref introduced him, because it said like, they are... And I was like, oh, he's like a tag team? I was confused. I was like, oh, he must be tagging with somebody. So, yeah, I'm guessing it's because it's apricots and pears. There's two things. So they refer to him, it, they, she, I don't know, as they. But I did notice that the ref to do that. Oh, I missed one more thing in relation to the previous match. Faye Jackson. Buff Ref wasn't there. I don't think I've ever seen a match when Buff Ref's not, because that's always the thing. Do your job. Do your job. So I don't quite know how, unless that just didn't line up in the order of the matches they wanted. I think that's the first time I've ever seen Buff Ref not do Faye Jackson's match, as far as I can remember. All right, talk to us about match 4, though.
So, and Cabana Man Dan, he rolls him apricots and pears. He rolls him around the ring in like a pinning position for like forever.
It was funny.
And then there was 4 chops with the flip-flop to apricot. And apricot wins with a figure 4.
So you're going with apricots as well, then?
Yeah.
Okay, fair
I
enough.
always say apricots.
Okay, that's fine. I didn't know that. I couldn't remember. And Mommy always says apricots, so I couldn't remember. I don't have Jackson with us right now, unfortunately. We could have asked him what he says. I don't know.
He says apricots.
So he makes his own word up totally. I like that word, an apricot. Now, the thing that impressed me with this, and I talked about it on that first match, we got to see, when I think of Bobby Orlando, I automatically think of that comedy wrestler. With Cabana Man Dan, when the times I've seen him, he's mainly been in matches with like 6 other people. And in fact, when I saw him at WrestleMania, he was in like a 15-man battle royal. So he only gets little spots. With this being a singles match, I got to watch him a lot more closely. He's a lot more skilled than I realised. He's another one who's not just a comedy wrestler. He's a very good technical wrestler as well. There was multiple things where he had that joint manipulation going. And like you said, where he was rolling people around. I saw a totally new side of Cabana Man Dan that I hadn't seen before. I want to see Cabana Man Dan more on the singles scene than I do as putting him in that 4-man rush or a 10-man rush or whatever. He definitely has the skills to do that. And I was really impressed with this one. Did you say who won this one? Because I don't remember.
Apricots.
No, he won.
Yeah.
I'm kind of disappointed by that, because I thought Cabana Man Dan was the far more impressive of the people with this one. Now, the thing I remember with apricots and pears more than anything else is I didn't remember his pose, but he kind of gets like 2 fingers put together. Is it like a gun shape? Is that what it's supposed to be? Or is it supposed to be like a thoughtful pose?
Thoughtful, I think.
Okay, so it's like rest on his chin. The reason I'm remembering that more than anything is Mayday had a poster for that one. I remember seeing that one because I was like, oh, that's his gimmick. And I guess I haven't seen enough of his matches to actually know that. But I like the fact now that we're starting to see some of these people for like a 2nd, 3rd, and 4th time, and they're starting to resonate with us a little closer, and we tend to remember them a little bit better. After the match, Cabana Man Dan, it was a bajillion degrees. I don't know what bajillion is. I'm guessing that's a pretty high number, right, Mason? At Primetime Pro, but it was fantastic top to bottom. Thank you for such a kind reception. And once again, yeah, I thought everybody, the fans were really into this one. And the last match before the intermission was Blank versus Jimmy Jacobs. Jimmy's bio on Twitter, professional wrestling character, played by a character of a guy trying to figure out life. And I didn't know, Jimmy Jacobs has his own podcast. It says you can listen on iTunes, so that might be one I'm kind of interested in. I know he's a really interesting guy in the fact that he's not just a wrestler. Like, he's been a writer on WWE, and there's a few things like that. In fact, you told me, I think it was as they were walking out, what did you tell me about Jimmy Jacobs that you knew?
He knew Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins
And I
before
said-
they were in WWE.
And that's what I said. I said, well, I'm sure he knows a lot of those just from WWE, and you said that before that. Me trying to compete with you and losing badly, I said he knows Dennis Farrell as well. Dennis Farrell's the, well, I think of him as a podcaster, but he's also the radio star as well. The reason I know that is his podcast with P.D. Williams, the Wrestling Perspectives podcast, which I really like listening to. He's talked about when he's travelled with P.D. to Impact Wrestling things or to independent events, and I guess Jimmy Jacobs has been in the car, because now we know that they all travel together. So he's always talked very positively about Jimmy Jacobs. He said he's a really interesting person to listen to. Knows a lot about the wrestling scene, obviously. So, yeah. Mayday sign for this one. I love it. Because before you could see them, because we could see them from behind because of the colouring of the dark pen, right? This one, you couldn't see anything because it was blank, because he was wrestling blank. And actually, if you look on Blank's Blank's bio on Twitter, same thing. I thought my screen had messed up to begin with. I was like, whoa, what the heck? I tried refreshing. There's nothing there. It's just a blank screen. So I thought that was pretty clever as well. I like that. And Jimmy Jacobs also appeared recently on the Squared Circle Sound Off. We should mention that as well. So if you want to know more about Jimmy Jacobs, definitely go and listen to Sean's podcast on that. I know you can find that on SoundCloud. And I think that would be it for me. All right, Mason, talk to us about the match.
So, Blank puts his glove in his dingo, and then he slaps Jimmy Jacobs with it, and then Jimmy Jacob puts it in Blank's mouth.
It was kind of like the mandible claw thing with Mick Foley.
Yeah.
I kind of like that variation using that as well.
And Jimmy Jacobs, so when Blank opens his mouth thing to talk, then then Jimmy Jacobs closes it.
Didn't he sit down on the ring, kind of like how we're sat right now? Kind of like how Aleister Black does, like sat in the middle of the ring. And then Jimmy Jacobs just did the same thing and Jimmy Jacobs did it first, and I think Blank took that as a sign of disrespect. So he came and joined him. I just remembered, last time we saw Blank was actually at Nova Pro, because he had one of those gloves and he just basically rubbed it along everybody's face. Wasn't that on our row or on the back of our heads or something?
I ducked.
Oh, yeah. You ducked.
Or I didn't really have to duck much, but...
I suddenly forgot that he had appeared also at Nova Pro. Now, the other thing that was surprising was, you said after match 4, you're like, this is probably going to be the intermission, right? And I was like, yeah, probably. So we didn't realise until the time. As we think that Blank is Logan Easton Lareau, that means he had 2 matches within an hour, pretty much. By the time his first match had finished, and by the time this match had started, there was only an hour's gap in between. Now, the fact that it was so hot as well, I think that makes that even more impressive. But I think it also speaks to how classy and how good of a wrestler that Logan Easton Lareau is as well. All right, tell us a bit more about this match.
So, Blanky hits his head on the same part of the barricade twice, and Blank wins with a discus clothesline.
What's a discus clothesline?
When he turns around and then does a clothesline.
Oh, is that what that's called? Oh, I like that. I didn't know that name at all. I guess I could have possibly figured it out by the technique, because one of your cousins throws does she do discus or does she do shot put? Actually, I think it's shot put, isn't it? But I knew she did one of those field events like that. Once again, I thought this was a great match. You can see the class of Jimmy Jacobs. We've seen him a few times. We've also kind of missed him a few times as well. So the first time we saw him at Nova Pro, I don't think we realised who he was particularly. We knew he was like a big star, but we didn't really know why, and we saw that one. Next time, I think he was at Nova Pro, we were actually on holiday, so we got to watch it on Independent Wrestling TV. Actually, I think it was even Powerbomb TV at that point. I think it was Christmas 2017. The next time he came, I think we went to get a snack or something, so we had a hot dog, we had to wait for it, so we watched the match against, I think it was Sage Phillips, from the side of the ring as well. And I think we wanted to get like an autograph, and he wasn't actually there, so sometimes the wrestlers don't always come out. So this time, this did lead into the intermission, and Jimmy didn't even leave. He kind of did like the Ugly Ducklings do. He just went straight to his merch stand. He's like, look, open the barriers up. I want to get out there. And we went to see Isaiah Frazier, because we wanted to get that card autographed, like you said. We then went straight to Jimmy Jacobs. Really nice guy. You picked out one with... I didn't know he was in Ring of Honor. I think it was a Ring of Honor one. I didn't know that side of him at all. So he's obviously appeared in a lot of big organizations. We got that autograph. I think we got one more as well. Kip Stevens.
Yeah.
And I love that picture.
Uh-huh.
So he was evil Kip, but we actually picked out the picture that was nerdy Kip, because I actually like that. And on the photograph, he basically just put his arm in front of your face, so you can't see your face at all. I like it. I think that's really cool.
He told me so before we took the picture, he told me to play along.
Oh, he did. Okay, cool. No, I think that's great. Well, I'm sure otherwise, because you'd be like, hold on, your arm's in front of my face. So you'd have to kind of know. It looks really cool. You can tell it's you, because you're wearing, obviously, you're wearing your jersey that's got the independent wrestling thing on it. So we know that it was you. But yeah, I think it makes it funnier when we have those ones. Like Orange Cassidy's hands draped over Jackson's face on a recent... I like those things. I think it makes them all a little different than just sort of pushing yourself up against the person and getting a quick photo.
So the first thing is, I think Jimmy Jacobs met Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins in Ring of Honor because they were Tyler Black and Kevin Steen.
That makes sense.
And second, I smile all the time, even if my face isn't really in the pictures like that. I still smiled when his arm was still in front, because the other day...
Well, because it's funny.
Yeah, and the other day, you took a picture of my new shoes, and then I smiled.
I forgot about that.
And then sometimes we have to, turn our backs, because we have, stuff on the back of our shirts, and then I still smile.
Of course. Well, that's because you're happy. I think that's part of it, but that is kind of funny that you... You smiled for a shoe picture. No, you were happy with your new shoes. You said they were really comfortable.
Yeah, I
So-
like the zips in the back.
Yeah, I had something like that. They're really cool. I gotta say, I threw them away. I'd done mine for years, and Mommy was like, they're getting a little old. I was like, yeah, they are. I threw them away, but I love those shoes. They were really comfortable. I think Jackson's quite happy with his first pair of Jordans as well. Because I asked him, do you know who Jordan is? And he's like, yeah, Michael Jordan. So I'm like, oh, okay. I guess he's seen Space Jam. We always got to get Space Jam mentioned one time an episode. All right. Any more for the intermission? I think that was...
So I had to wait like a long time to use the bathroom.
Yeah. Yeah, the facilities there are not great when people are there. And obviously people are drinking a lot because, well, one, it's a brewery. And also it's kind of hot as well, so you want to keep sipping fluids. So, yeah, you had to wait for a bit. So you actually missed the start of the next match. We did talk to Bobby Orlando. He still doesn't have any 8x10s, unfortunately. He had a T-shirt, but I already had a T-shirt. I did buy a T-shirt, actually. I bought the Primetime Pro Wrestling T-shirt. My new aim is I cleared out a lot of my old wrestling shirts of basically just wrestlers. What I'm trying to get now is organizations. Like the ones I wear the most, which I don't mind wearing at random times, like Wolfram Pro Wrestling from England, I like wearing that. My WrestleGate Pro, when I can find it, I like to wear that one as well.
IWP.
IWTV, yeah, I like. So I'm trying to sort of build up a collection for that one as well. So, yeah, they're only $20. That's pretty good for a T-shirt. They can do that. But I don't like wearing necessarily like a wrestler's face on my shirt. At my age, I think it's a little different for you. You can wear whoever you like, but I want something a little more casual. So, anyway, I did pick up that. So I guess I watched the start of this match, and then you might not have as many notes for this one. This was, match 6 was Capital Vices versus Fuller's House 3.0. So Capital Vices is Sin and Money Green, and Fuller's House 3.0 was Mac Buckler and Mikey Banker. And we've talked about these people multiple times, so go ahead.
My favorite shirts actually don't have any wrestlers' faces on it, really.
I would agree. Like I got a few, like Bro Callis was
Matt
one
Hardy.
Recently. Matt Hardy's, that would be an exception. I do like wearing that one. I've had so many comments on that shirt. I've had more comments on that shirt than probably all my other wrestling shirts combined.
Yeah.
And even at the last pay-per-view that we went to, people were like, oh, gosh, that shirt's so cool. Or like, I wish I'd have bought that one. And yeah, it's kind of one of those iconic images that's just kind of like... Jackson obviously loves it as well. That was so funny when he made me change my shirt to mow the lawn with the Mowers of Lawn shirt. So, yeah. Go ahead.
So I got the ending. So
And you missed a lot of it, so yeah, go ahead.
yeah, Capital Vices win with the power bomb.
They did. So I'm trying to remember what I can remember specifically from this match. I know that Mikey Banker had a really good move, and I can't remember what it was. I know him and Josh were sort of celebrating together, so they took like the initial lead, and then the other guys came back, and of course at that point, after losing the match, Josh Fuller disowned the group. So Fuller's House 3.0 is already finished. And the reason we know this is Crab Wrestling, which is going to happen in a few days' time as we're recording this, or by the time this is released a few days ago, it's actually the same match. Unfortunately, Lotus can't actually make the match, so Mac Buckler and Mikey Banker's in their place. And they do have a name, and I can't remember what the name is right now. So I actually posted on Twitter, oh, you've spelled Fuller's House 3.0 wrong. And Josh Fuller responded, yeah, no, that's done, dude. So that group's already done. So I don't know if there's going to be a Fuller's House 4.0 coming up, or... his teams aren't that successful right now. In fact, I think I commented, his managing success is about as successful as Elo Neal's tag teams. They just don't last very long. And then they're pretty much finished. Alright, match 7. Ariella Nix with Mark Adam Haggerty versus the Afro-Punk Trish Adora. Mark's bio. You know I said I remembered him, and I said Chikara, and I was like, I'm sure I know from... There is something else. His bio says pro wrestling announcer seen on at Chikara Pro and at Capital Wrestling. That's what I got wrong in my head. I kept thinking he was the referee, because that's Bryce. And then I couldn't figure out, well, how do I know him at Chikara? He obviously does the ring announcing. I was getting ring announcer and referee mixed up. And I have seen him at Capital Wrestling as well, and I couldn't remember that's where I'd seen him. Trish, we didn't know at all. She was new to us. Her bio is pretty limited, Mason. It just says, can I give you a hug? That's it. That's all it says. Now, Mark actually did put on Twitter, first time I've been in Washington, D.C., and I've already received a gift. I've been awake for 39 hours. I've driven 1,600 miles, but that makes everything worth it. Beautiful work courtesy of at 1% merch. They'd also made a Funko Pop for him as well and presented it to him. Yeah, 1,600 miles he'd traveled. That's absolutely ridiculous. And been awake for 39 hours. So, all right, talk to us about this one then.
So I've watched this one episode of this show called Awake, where you have to stay awake for like 24 hours and just count coins.
Why?
Oh, it's like a competition.
Just to stay awake, or just so you can? Is it who counts the most coins?
It's like who gets the most accurate and who gets the least accurate and who counts the least gets eliminated. And then they have all these different challenges, and then you could win like 100,000. Like you could win all of the coins that they counted, or you could go for $1 million.
Oh, okay.
And so, like, you have to stay awake for over 24 hours on that, but...
24 hours is not that big of a deal. You can kind of do that. Recently, what I'm going to say, this is going to be an upcoming review for us, but actually, the day before we went to this, we got up at 5:30, we drove all the way down to Virginia Beach, we did a whole day in Virginia Beach, we watched the wrestling VCW, and I didn't get back home until about 1:30. So I was up for like 20 hours. So you can kind of do a whole day, and we did a lot on that day as well. We did over like 20,000 steps. We just never stopped. We were constantly doing stuff. You can kind of do that, but then once you get into the next day, though, that's getting on for nearly 2 days. That's kind of pushing it. After 24 hours, I was tired. Like, I didn't wake up that next day, and I even took a little nap just before we left for this one. But yeah, to be up for that long, I don't know. I wonder if he drove himself then. Because we always talk about, hey, you take it in turns, and yeah, I don't know.
So I got not a fist bump, cheers from Trish Adore.
Okay.
And then, cause you bought a Sprite and a cup of waters for us during the intermission, and you gave me the Sprite bottle so I could do a cheers.
The reason I got those was because I wasn't sure. I just walked over because I was curious. They were actually pretty good. A bottle of water was $1. Can of soda was $1. That's pretty good. Yeah. I couldn't complain at that. And I was starting to get thirsty, so last time we just waited. But yeah, and also the line that was the other thing. I didn't want to wait in line forever. Like at the start, everyone went straight over there, and you just couldn't get in. But by the time we were ready to return to our seats and you were ready to go to the restroom, there was like one person ahead of me. So I was like, sure, we'll get some water.
And Nick, she got punched so loud. I could feel it from my seat.
Yeah.
But she can't get up. The whatever his name is, the 39. Mark? Yeah, Mark. He got punched and he couldn't stand up either. Mm-hmm. And then Trish wins.
He probably appreciated the chance to have a lie down and a little nap.
Trish wins with a spear.
Oh, that's what you got for this? Trish was absolutely amazing in this match. We talked about sometimes when you don't know somebody that first time, like it's really difficult to kind of win a crowd over. Now, I don't know, everyone else might have known Trish. It might just have been us that didn't know who she was at all. But the reaction to her was brilliant. She totally won over the crowd. Like when she won, everyone was really into her and cheering for her. I thought it was a fantastic match. I really enjoyed this match. I thought this was really good. Because I was a little surprised actually when I was like, whoa, this was the match before the main event. And I was like, wow, they've given a lot of respect to both of those people, putting them so late in the card. When you think of some of the matches that appeared earlier in the card, like Jimmy Jacobs appeared earlier, there's a lot of people who you'd think who've certainly wrestled a lot later. Like Isaiah Frazier was main event the previous event, right? Because he got to face in the final. He got moved to like match 2 this time. So yeah, they gave him a lot of respect by putting him there, and they certainly didn't let them down. Now, before they went to the last match, Lolo and Gator both came out. President Gator, I think, had actually been in hospital a few days before, so I wasn't even sure he was actually going to be there. So they did announce what the next event is. Saturday, September 28th. It's called Embassy Row. You were right. The Gymnasty Boys are going to be there. They announced some matches, and I actually missed that one. I think the other name, was it Savannah Stone? Sahara Stone? I remember hearing one of the women's names. I was like, oh yeah, I recognize that name. There was a few for that. The big thing was also, Mr. Gator announced that the prices will be going up, but there was no mention of what that was going to be. Front row seats were $25. I just assumed it was going to be $30. I think one of the Nova Pro events, when it was at the Ox Brewery, was $30, if I remember. So I assumed it was just going to be $30. They did the same thing again, and they did the pre-sale at DC9. So we found out the prices have actually gone up to $35 for the front row. It's $30 for the second row, and $25 for the third row, and it's going to be $20 for standing. So the prices have actually gone up $10 for front row. We do have front row for this one. We do also know another match, but we won't talk about that until we've talked about match 8. So it'll be interesting to see. Obviously, if they've sold out in less than a day, there is a big demand for tickets. People who said, look, hey, I can't make this event anymore. Is anybody interested in tickets? Gone straight away. Like, Maddie was sick, couldn't make it. Within 10 minutes, the tweet that said, hey, I got 2 tickets for sale, had been deleted, which makes me think she sold them. I also saw another person from the gated community who also managed to buy a ticket that way as well, didn't have a ticket, managed to get one. So, yeah, I'm wondering if they're trying to make a little bit more from that, or if they're trying to put on a few more, perhaps expensive people who they want to bring in. So, we'll be interested to see how that really works out. One quote from Lolo, which really stood out for me, and got a lot of likes when I posted it later. Wrestling is real, but gender is BS. And basically that was the announcement that all titles from now on are going to be open to both genders. If you're good enough, you can win the title. Obviously that means at some point then there is going to be an intergender title match. Obviously if we have a male title holder, and they've just mentioned that you can have a female title holder, at some point there has to be a male versus female match, but they've already started to do that anyway. I'm perfectly happy with that. You said you love intergender wrestling as well, so I think we're both happy with that announcement that she did that. And you weren't even sure Lola was going to be at this event, because I mentioned that she'd moved to Chicago now, and I honestly didn't know either. So, yeah, both people were actually there for this one.
Remember when we were talking in the car about who, like, was there anybody other than Bro Killer that won twice?
Oh, yeah.
I think Capital Vices won twice.
I think you're right.
And did Lady Frost win twice? Oh, no,
she
Faye
lost.
Jackson won twice.
Faye... I thought Faye lost to Ariella.
I thought Ariella lost.
Oh, in the first one?
Yeah.
So Ariella's lost both matches now?
I think so.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we were trying to think who'd actually won matches in both events. Okay, and I thought the only person was Bro Keller. I think you're right. You're definitely right about Sin and Money Green. The Capital Vices definitely won both of their matches. I was trying to think. It was obviously matches that weren't singles matches, and yeah, I forgot about that one. Because we remembered Money Green climbed up the post on one of them, because you notice there's nails sticking out.
Yeah.
Because he climbed up and used it like a ladder and did a flip from there. Whereas when they slammed somebody into one of those posts later, they made sure they didn't pick them on. Alright, match 8 was the main event. This is Bro Keller versus Jaden Newman. Bro Keller won the championship at the last event. So Jaden Newman was the new challenger. And on Twitter, his bio says, pro wrestler at Crux Wrestling / at TWE_Chattanooga. #1. He said on Twitter, I'm going to prove true everything you have heard about me. I am #1. And I did actually see on Twitter as well, Kerry Awful, who was part of the Carnies. He said it was like a real highlight getting to watch him. It was like, you should really watch him. He's like really good. I'm not doing justice to the quote because I didn't actually write it down. All right, talk to us about this one then.
So, Bro Keller kicks out and Jaden, he blames it all on me.
I remember he kind of pointed at you.
Yeah, he first points at Mayday. He's like, no, it's the kid's fault.
Seems fair enough.
Yeah. And, so my hands are hurting from clapping so much, and I'm not the only one.
We're not.
Yeah.
As soon as Jaden came in, we did the famous Bro Keller clap. We didn't give him a chance to even talk. Actually, there was a lot of booing as well, like, boo! We didn't give him a chance to talk, and then we did the... That happened, and we were doing it really loud. And he, of course, he was playing the heel character, and he's like, stop! Stop! And we constantly did that throughout the match. Maddie did request the fact that even though she couldn't make it, could somebody at least shout out something? I think she said vile or something like that. And I said, we didn't manage to do that, but we did clap until our hands were really hurting. And then we took like a little break. They said this match, I forgot at the start, they said this match has a time limit of 1 hour. And I was like, oh my gosh, how long is this going on? And my first thought was, why would you say an hour unless it's going over 30 minutes? Because otherwise you could just say 30 minutes is the time limit. So I was like, we need to pace ourselves, or our hands. We did. My hands were really hurting at the end, constantly doing that clap. But the pop for Bro, phenomenal. Everyone's totally behind him. I felt bad because I didn't wear my Bro Keller shirt on this time, and Maddie wasn't there either, so she didn't have her Bro Keller shirt, but certainly in terms of the clapping, there was a lot, so I think everybody got behind him. I didn't think for 1 second Bro was going to lose this match, though. I always thought that Bro was going to win this, because I still think at some point there was going to be the setup, obviously the O'Shea incident from last time, but I still thought it was a good match. Alright, talk to us a little bit more about the match then.
So, first, I like how Savage Gentleman makes people stop clapping. He just puts their hands together with his
He's got a few little things like that. I didn't have the pen and paper. I noticed another one that he did as well during his match, and I was like, oh, that's really clever. And I can't remember what it is. No, Savage Gentleman is really good at doing things like that around the... Great interactivity with the crowd. Obviously, he's not playing a part in the ring at that point, so he can do anything he likes. But yeah, that's a great touch.
So, and then Bro wins with a code breaker.
Oh, please. That's not the only thing you have for this match.
I know, it's not.
Okay, thank goodness. Oh, you got things for after the match as well. Oh, brilliant.
Okay.
This was a great
I was
match.
into it, that's why.
Alright, fair enough. It was a good one. This will, I'm sure, be on Independent Wrestling TV as well, so you can definitely go and watch that. Alright, I guess you're going to steal all my notes, so go on, keep going now.
Oh, he comes out and attacks Bro.
He did, and he was siding, obviously, with Jaden Newman as well. And that's going to be a team. They're going to be called Southern Hospitality. And actually, at that point, Coach Gator came... At that point, Mr. Gator came back into the ring, and Bro basically told him, no, don't suspend him. I don't want you to suspend him anymore. I basically want him. That's a tag team over there. I want a tag team match. And actually, all the other wrestlers from the back had come out to help him at this point as well. That's why Bro didn't continually get beat down. And so he said, who's your partner? And they were pointing to different people. There was a big chant for Isaiah, and I thought, that's it. It's going to be Isaiah Frazier. And then they were kind of pointing at other people, and Cabana Man Dan was kind of like, no, look, I know it's not going to be me, but it was like, oh, it's nice of you to even mention it. And they went to different people. And he's like, Isaiah, he's like, I love you, but it's not going to be you. I have somebody else in mind. And I was thinking, I wonder who it is. Tim Donst. I was like, oh, brilliant. Perfect. They obviously fought at Flying V as well. The only thing they didn't say is, though, for that match, I think we need Tim frickin' Donst. I don't think it's going to be safety first Tim Donst, because I don't think that works with O'Shea Edwards' character. I love safety first, though. Same when it was Nick Gage at Nova Pro. Who did we have? Tim frickin' Donst. So, I don't know. I'm happy that Tim Donst is coming back. I did wonder, with him not being at the first two, I was like, I wonder if they're not... Because a lot of the Nova Pro characters have sort of come back. I was like, perhaps he's not available, doesn't want to do it. I don't know. Well, I'm really excited for Tim Donst coming back. I think that's going to be really good. The other announcement was Ariella Nix will defend her Wrestling Magic title against the winner of a triple threat match. Oh, I did write them down. Ashley America will be returning, Savannah Stone, and Davienne. Now, you might not recognize the last name. I've seen her a lot recently on Independent Wrestling. She's been tagging with Skylar at... I always want to say undiscovered country.
Uncharted territory.
Uncharted territory, thank you. So I've seen her a couple of times there. She's had some really good matches with people like Chris Statlander, people like Solo Darling, people like that. So that's another person I'm actually really excited to see. And I saw Scott mention that on Twitter as well after the event. Like, hey, I'm really excited that Davienne's going to be there. And I was like, I agree. Absolutely. I'm totally with you on that one. The main event, I was kind of surprised. I assumed that Bro would be the main event. I guess with being the main event for 2 in a row, you want to mix it up a little bit. The main event's going to be Isaiah Frazier versus Fred Yehai. And then we, of course, got the crowds like, how high? Yay high. So we had, I remember those from Nova Pro as well. You obviously didn't remember that from the look on your face. Do you remember Fred Yehai?
Yes.
Yeah, he appeared on for a little bit. Was it MLW? We saw him on one of those and we were like, oh, it's Fred Yehai. I've also seen him at a couple of the Chicago events as well. I want to say freelance possibly. So he's been around, but yeah, that's going to be the main event. Anything else for this one?
So I remember he fought Jordan Grace too.
Oh, he did. Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Oh, I remember one more thing. I had a wrestling magazine too, and Fred Yehai was in it.
Oh, he was in that. Was that the one Tim Donst gave you?
No.
Oh, okay.
That was from like 1986.
Oh, of course it was. No, you can leave that in there.
Yes.
I forgot it was a classic wrestling magazine. I didn't know you had another wrestling magazine.
I think it was like the one you gave me. You've already read it and then you gave it to me.
Oh,
and like
okay.
I actually read it like very through it.
Okay, all right. Well, actually, now you've got your phone. Mason now has a phone because he's going to start middle school, so he needs that for when he needs to get home and things like that. I have an app called Zinio, and I actually have downloaded the I can't remember what the magazine is. Whatever has that top 500. PWI, so Pro Wrestling Illustrated. I actually have a subscription to that, so I can log you on now onto your phone, and you should be able to read those events as well. So you'll have a few more to read. I am way behind on those. I actually looked. I have a soccer one as well. I've actually read through five episodes in the last day. That's how far behind I am, and I still have 3 more to go. This one only comes out every 2 months, and I think I still have about 5 episodes I haven't read yet. So I'm like way behind. The annoying thing is, though, they put the weird date on them. Like I think the October issue might already be out, and we're still in July. Like, I don't know why they do that. I find that really annoying. But anyway, anything else for this one? Oh, I guess normally we finish up what happened after the event. We didn't get to see Cabana Man Dan. We left his gift on his merch table. I did talk to him very briefly. He had other things to do. It was very hot inside that building, which I agree with. And he did find it, and he was very thankful for that. He thought that was a really nice touch. We left pretty quickly and stopped at the 7-Eleven, and then we went back home. Oh, I thought of one more thing we didn't talk about. A ton of people left at intermission.
Oh, yeah.
When you came back to your seat, that whole row behind us was almost empty. We saw the commissioner had left, and you noticed people with green armbands were sitting where the yellow armbands would be. So, like, the second row was sitting where the front row were. That was really weird. Was that because of the heat? They didn't like the event?
Green was standing remain only.
Oh, it was? Oh, well, they got a definite advantage. I've never seen so many people leave. I hadn't really noticed during the intermission that people had left. So, I don't know. If it was the heat, then, I don't know. That's got to be a concern for an organisation. If you're not getting that retention, like, we just said prices are going up as well. Like, are you prepared to pay $35 to only watch half a match? I don't think many people are going to be prepared to do that.
To half a show?
Half a show, exactly.
Yeah.
People might not be prepared to do that. So, yeah, that was something interesting. All right, you said you had one more thing.
So, after we went to 7-Eleven and I got a quarter pounder with chili and cheese on it, that hit the spot.
The hot dog?
Yeah.
Uh-huh, of course it did. I'm not surprised. All right, I think that's it for us then, right?
It's goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye to me.
And it's goodbye from them.
Goodbye.
The music was Zigzag by Kevin MacLeod at incompetech.com. Licensed under Creative Commons by Attribution 3.0. http://creativecommons.org/licenses/by/